Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. And as promised, we are now going to talk about the top 10 obscure Fox Kids shows. These are the weird and the lesser known ones. Um, so we're going to start out with number 10 The Ripping Friends. If you don't know what that is, how do I explain this show? Created by John Kay, who's a persona non grata nowadays, but the creator of Ren and Stimpy and two Yogi Bear shorts for Cartoon Network in the mid to late 90s, he created this show. Strangely enough, there were certain shows I wasn't allowed to watch. I wasn't allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy. I couldn't watch those two shorts. My mom's like, I was watching one. I was like, "No, this is too much at risk to me. You can't watch it." I couldn't watch Count Chicken. I was one told I couldn't watch Rocko's Modern Life because it's too much. But this, I couldn't watch Johnny Bravo because Womanizer. This was fine. I constantly watched this and was not. No one said anything at all. And what is this? You may be wondering. The Ripping Friends. Well, The Ripping Friends is a show focused on a group of four ultra-masculine, massively muscular superhero brothers who attempt to fight crime from their base, Ripcot, the really impressive prototype city of Next Tuesday. The next is in the... Their names are Crag, Rip, Slab, and Chunk Nugget. Crag being the leader. The four friends of the four include Jimmy the Idiot Boy, a mentally challenged drooling child, and their foster mother He-Mom. The villains range from the indigestible Wad, I remember that one, a wad of gum who sucks moisture out of people, to the evil Yugoslavian dictator Citraset, to Flathead, an inner vertebrate in search of a spine, to their own underpants. Each episode is usually tagged with a short episode, which John Kay says was composed of leftovers. These segments were called Rip Along with the Ripping Friends and usually portrayed Ripping Friends solving problems of fans. In each segment, viewers referred to as kids are asked to rip along with the action by ripping up paper in front of the television when coax to. I also remember like a farting. The Indigestible Wad episode, I remember they were eating beans in the woods and farting. That one I remember. It's toilet humor like Ren and Stimpy, but I guess this one was okay for me to watch. It's weird. It's really weird. It only lasted one season of 13 episodes. Shocking. But it was one that I enjoyed back then. For number 9, hey, did you know that there is a 90s cartoon based on the Casper movie? That's right. There was a continuation of the Casper film, The Spooktacular Adventures of Casper, airing on Fox Kids from 1996 to 1998. I also remember watching these on weekdays. It was a continuation of the Universal Casper film. There was a sequel in development for Casper, but Christina Ricci and Bill Pullman were attached to other projects, so they scrapped it and instead developed a cartoon series to continue the story. It aired for 4 seasons. Wow. Made the same people. Only the first 46 episodes appeared on Fox, with the remaining end up on Fox Family Channel. Many of the same people on this show worked for Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, and Pinky and the Brain, another of which is a spin-off of the former. Coincidentally, he had also uh, so it was a sitcom style pattern of one-liners and pop culture gags and managed into the Casper feature. The show would also break the fourth wall frequently. The show used old Casper supporting characters such as Casper cousin Spooky, Spooky's ghoul friend Pearl or Poyle, as rendered in Spooky's Brooklyn accent, and Nightmare the Ghost Horse, who, unlike the original cartoons, does not talk. The show also introduced new characters, including Casper's super loud teacher, Miss Banshee. So, continuing from the show, he was Casper McFadden, which was his character from the movies before, that movie, and then they released the prequel by 20th Century Fox that ignored all development from. I talked about this. I did a review for Casper's Fear the Beginning. It's supposed to be a prequel to the original Casper movie. But one, that was produced by 20th Century Fox and not Universal. It ignores every single detail of Casper's origin. In fact, he died in the Victorian era. And the Spirited Beginning has him just die. And it's clearly 1997 because there's an X-Files t-shirt, Beetleborg toys, posters that are very 90s when it shouldn't be. And of course, he doesn't remember who he is, which, the ghostly trio are involved. And we have Dr. James Harvey, who is voiced by Dan Castellaneta, and his daughter Kat, who is voiced by Kath Soucie. And I've since watched as an adult some episodes of this on YouTube. It's fun. It's another one of those that don't have. There is actually 2 physical media releases, 2 DVD releases, but it's a fun show. Try to find it on YouTube. It's a fun watch, actually. Taking us into number 8 is another one that was very much of the time, and I'm serious. NASCAR Racers. Yes, released in 1999 to 2001. It ran for 2 seasons, 26 episodes. You see, the late 90s to the early 2000s is where I think NASCAR hit its stride. Very much in the cultural zeitgeist of that time. They're still around now, but do you hear people talk about it as much as they used to back then? No. My whole family was into it. My friend Tim is still into it. It's just, some people are still into it, but back then, it was a whole other place. So, of course, to kind of catch that and feed it to kids a little bit, they created NASCAR Racers. Yes. They used 3D computer animation for the racing track scenes, and the characters were drawn traditional 2D cell animation. Yeah. And the real-life NASCAR tracks are ovals, but the NASCAR Racers tracks are very different. To give it kind of like Hot Wheels, what's that called? You know what I'm talking about, that Highway 35, Hot Wheels, whatever, I can't think of it. That thing. The Motor Sphere, which you can drive all over it. Yeah. Our main characters are of Team Fast X. Mark Charger McCutcheon, Ian James Corlett, who was the original voice of Krillin, and was also on, he was Cheetor on Beast Wars and Beast Machines. Megan Spitfire Fassler, voiced by Kathleen Barr. Carlos Stunts Ray, Reno Romano, who go on to play the Batman in The Batman. Steve Flyer Sharp, Roger R. Cross, and their owner of Team Fast X, Jack Fassler, who is also, if you couldn't, Megan's father. And Doc Dunaka, voiced by Dale Wilson, is the crew chief. Lugnut is mechanic who was hired by Jack and Duck. So there's also Team Rexor, Lyle the Collector Owens. He's a bad guy, voiced by Scott McNeil. Yes, we mentioned him in last video. Hondo Spectre Hines. Does he not talk? There's no voice for him. Zorina, also no voice for her. Diesel spits. He speaks in a broken English-German dialect. There's no voice for these, though. Team Rexor is there. There are other drivers, too. It was a fun show. This aired around the same time as... I remember it being on... I think it had to have been for both... Lightspeed Rescue and Time Force. But I remember it being on Time Force, unless those were reruns. But it was fun. And the theme song, come on! NASCAR! Racers! Extreme. It's better than what I'm saying in it. Check it out. Go look it online. The NASCAR Racers theme. It's fun. Something like that. I don't know. But hey, if you had to take one toy from Toy Story and give it its own show, what would it be? That's not what I wanted. Nah, not Buzz Lightyear. That got its own show later. I'm not talking about that. Woody? No. How about a toy that had long-lasting values? It's been around for decades before. How about Mr. Potato Head? And what if it was a all-puppet show and there were other puppets like a ham or a sweet potato or a potato bug or a... Say what? You learn something new every day. Or a can. A dog made out of cans. A rotten apple. A fruitcake. There's a ham monster. Yeah. So this one lasted one season of 13 episodes. This one stood out. Well, one, Mr. Potato doesn't have a mustache here. I'm assuming he couldn't have the mustache because the Disney one had the mustache. It's a copyright thing. You got Mr. Potato Head, but you can't have a mustache because Disney owns that version. I'm guessing that's what it was. So he had no mustache, which automatically, took away from that. I got a Mr. Potato Head and his mustache is brown instead of black. I don't know why, but he's over there staring at me right now. Hi, Mr. Potato Head. What are you looking at, you hockey puck? You're staring at me first. Anyway, so it was developed by Dan Clark and Doug Langdale, and as I just found out, the puppet characters were created by the Kyoto brothers. They get dun 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 dun. What are you gonna do? Knock my block off? Yeah, those Kyoto brothers. Yes. And what it is that Mr. Potato Head hosts his own show. They're filming their own show on this show. So we are seeing them film episodes of the show. Episodes like he becomes a superhero, and that's not any of the episodes. His kitchen crew. The one episode I do remember because I've seen it the most, because again I had it on a VHS tape and it's on YouTube, I've seen it, is where they find like an old bag of popcorn that they put in the microwave and summon like a popcorn fairy or something. Hold on. No. Queenie goes on a diet, but her cravings result in unleashing an ancient evil called Lostograth, the destroyer from a bag of popcorn. Yeah. Meanwhile, Mr. Potato Head makes a superhero show where he plays Spudman. Yeah, they don't say much in these. Yeah, it was weird. And the theme song, Mr. Potato Head, Mr. Potato Head. Remember when I mentioned when I talk about Young Hercules and how 1998 was a weird year, this was part of that. 1998 to 1999, it was a weird year. It just Mr. Potato Head show and the Spy Dogs, Godzilla the series. It was a lot of weird stuff they were throwing onto the wall to see if it worked. This is one that didn't, but it's always fun for me to go back. I've watched episodes on YouTube and stuff. It's fun to go back and see just how weird some of these shows got. But yeah. Speaking of weird, number 6. This is gonna take some explaining. Towards the end of Fox Kids' run, they also had a lot of weird shows pop up. One such show was Galador, Defenders of the Outer Dimension, which, if you watched on Fox Kids, you never got a conclusion. However, the rest of the episodes were aired on ABC Family in the Jetix block. So there was a conclusion, kinda. It followed Nick Bluetooth, yes, that is his real name, who is awoken one night by a flying egg. And he and his friend Allegra jump in the egg and are transported to the outer dimension. There, he ends up meeting, it's a Wizard of Oz thing, he meets 3 companions. Jens, Euripides, and Nepal. Yeah. The villain is Gorm. Creative names here. Yeah. And their idea is to travel the outer dimension and try to find pieces of a key that was once owned by the stranger, who we find out is Nick's father. And there's no explanation. The Gates of Galador, Part 1 and Part 2, I'm assuming it was done. 10 episodes in Season 2, 16. Season 1. It says here out June 2002. By then, yeah, this had to be production. I'm writing. The last original debut on Fox Kids was branded by Foxbox. It was the last new original show to debut on Fox Kids before it was rebranded as Foxbox. There's something. Also, Galador was repeated on ABC Family. It was broadcast on Saturdays and Sundays. Galador was one of the debut titles of the tween focus programming in Australia's Foxtel. Yeah, there's a different theme song for the international that I've seen, but yeah, it was a fun show. He had powers, which were the Glinch, temporarily shape-shifting his limbs into limbs of aliens and specialized machines. Whatever came in handy for that part of the... Yeah. It was a fun show. It was a fun show, for sure. Hey, let's talk about we talked about Casper. Let's talk about another show based on a movie. This movie was about 3 bumbling buffoons who stumble across something supernatural and attempt to deal with it. And Ivan Reitman was involved. And no, it's not Ghostbusters. It's Evolution. Yes, apparently Evolution did enough to warrant not a sequel, but a continuation in Alienators Evolution Continues. And they cartoonified this thing to shit. Not only they like recast. They they kept Ira Kane, Harry Block, Allison Reed, and Wayne, whose last name is now Green instead of Gray, like in the I don't know why they changed his name. There also introduced a character named Lucy May, and there was a alien cell named Gassy, who is the three-eyed logo, basically. It's their Slimer, which wasn't in the movie, but they added it here too. The show had one season of 26 episodes and was basically like the Ghostbusters cartoon, only they're hunting down aliens. Started with the three-part Survival. Fox Kids aired quite a few and then ended with the three-part Reaper. I'd like to know how it ends, actually. But it was created by Deke. And yeah, I remember watching quite a bit of this when it was on. I don't think maybe I'd seen the movie by then, but it was yeah, just different. Of course, it's different, but fun. Speaking of fun, what do you do when your Power Rangers clones don't work? Well, or what do you do when you have exacerbated all the ways to make Power Rangers, using other Toku products, making one in the medieval times? How about you do it with Mexican wrestlers? That's how you get Los Luchadores. Yeah. So Los Luchadores follows Lobo Fuerte and his sidekick Turbine, who are wrestlers in the fictional Union City. But with the help of Maria Valentine and their guy in the chair, Laurent, they operate as vigilantes to protect Union City. Yes, Lobo Fuerte, portrayed by Maximo Morone, was the leader, followed by Turbine, played by Levi James. Maria Valentine, played by Sarah Carter. Well, she's no Sarah Carter, but actually she is Sarah Carter. And Laurent, played by Arthur Burgart. Fight bad guys like the Whelp. Dude, this is a Chihuahua. Mayor Potts, Gertrude are side characters. The Whelp is the big bad guy, but there are other bad guys that show up, including Diablo Azul, which is an ancient evil mask. But the Whelp was the only villain mentioned here. Whelpettes and Bone Warriors. This one means a little bit more to me because I actually remember watching this with my cousin who passed away last year. They come to visit. I was watching Saturday morning cartoons and stuff so much, and I remember we were sitting around the bed watching this. Just a happy memory, but yeah. So yeah, and music produced by Shuki Levy, but yeah, they're trying everything to, get that Power Ranger stuff. This only lasted one season, February to July 2001, but it is fun. I've rewatched episodes recently, and it is fun. I would tell you that much. Going back to the olden days, number 3 is a show called Space Goose. How to explain Space... There's no other way to explain Space Goose but the theme song, which goes, 5 little monsters were flying through space. The spaceship broke and they fell into this place. They gotta get out, but they don't know how. So they're waiting and waiting in this creepy, creepy house. La 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 la. We like monsters. Then the little kids sing. La 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 la. We like monsters. Everybody sings. La 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 la. We like monsters. Yeah, this is one. I remember. It's one where I found the DVDs at Cashwise and I rented them. Because I remember that show. So yeah, like I said, it's 5 extraterrestrials from the planet Sigma B Candy H. No other names. This planet Sigma B The aliens are Candy H. Caramella, Etnopolino, Bud Budiovich, Gorgeous Klaatu, and Stereo Monovoshi. They're on a pin together in space, but their spaceship crashes into an asteroid and they fall to planet Earth. They realize if any human finds out they are aliens, they can be captured and experimented by scientists. So they take shelter in the attic of a house that is up for rent. And most of the episodes have people moving into the house and they have to try to dissuade them from living there. And yeah. It's a weird show, but again, much like I mentioned in the previous shows, it's a fun watch. I think you can find some episodes on YouTube. They used to have DVDs. They're probably expensive as hell right now. But I'm telling you, try to find episodes of this. These are hard to explain. The weirder they get, the harder they are to explain. So, yeah. No, it's not hard to explain. Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates. Yes, Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates was a TV show that aired for 65 episodes in one season. And it was telling the story of Peter Pan and the Pirates. Peter Pan voiced by Jason Marsden. Tinkerbell voiced by Debbie Derryberry. Suck it, Doug. Wendy Darling voiced by Christina Lange. Whit Hertford was Michael Darling. Jack Lynch was John Darling in The Lost Boys. Nibs, Slightly, Curly, the twins, Toodles. And the antagonist, Captain James Algernon Cloudsley Hook, voiced by the one, the only, smashing Tim Curry. Yes, it's me. Yes, it had more grown-up stuff. Like, it did grown-up Peter Pan before Hook did. Because, like, I think it's the final episode, Peter grows old. Right? I mean, guys, you're not gonna... Oh, you do. The final episode, I think, is what it is. Isn't this magical? What? The final episode... I know there's some episode where he goes old. I don't know. Here, Ages of Pan. Yeah, he gets old. But yeah, it did older Peter Pan before Hook did, and it worked here. And I also did Return to Neverland story before that did it, by introducing Wendy's daughter Jane. Which I want to point out both this and Return to Neverland say that her daughter is Jane. No, wait, Moira was his granddaughter, her granddaughter, excuse me, was Wendy's granddaughter. So Jane bypassed the Jane thing. But yeah. But number one, of course. And you going, what do you mean, of course? We don't know you. Well, for me, it has to be this show. It has to be the one, the only, Kumbaya, Eek the Cat. Now you may be saying, Scotty, what the hell is that? Well, first of all, don't use that tone with me. But also, I almost clicked on that. Apparently there's an episode of South Park called Eek a Penis. And I almost clicked that one. Eek the Cat. Which, yes, aired starting in 1992. Yes, and it's about a cat named Eek who basically, wakes up and a lot of bad shit happens to him. He has a very large girlfriend named Clarabelle, is that what her name? Annabelle, I was close. Which I had a toy from. I got it from Taco Bell back in the day. His dog is a shark dog, which is another thing. He has one. There's Elmo the elk. And Timmy, his mom. Oh, the apparently single mother of the family that owns Eek. And his other two owners, Wendy Elizabeth and JB. Mittens, which is Eek's friend, a fellow cat that has light blue fur and always wears red mittens. A lot of stuff. Bad stuff happens to him. He gets smushed. The dog's trying to attack him constantly. All that stuff. And there's lots of different cartoons. Eek himself is purple. Yeah. There's also a bunch of spoofs, like Apocalypse Now and A Clockwork Orange, which is very weird for a kid's show. Best musical episode called Quadrupedia aired in the second season. Eventually, it was paired with another show called The Terrible Thunder Lizards, which was about two cavemen who existed in the dinosaur times and were trying to invent things while there are also the thunder lizards are there. I don't know what Clutter is. I don't remember that. Clutter. Introduced in the fourth season of Eek Extravaganza, followed Ryan and Wade Heap and their pet Clutter. They created from the static reaction of a pile of junk that their mother Andrea wanted them to pick up. I don't remember Clutter. Is there a picture of it? I do not remember this. Apparently only 8 segments were produced. I remember the Terrible Thunder Lizards, and I remember Eek the Cat, but I don't remember Clutter at all. At all. Like at all. But no, Eek the Cat stands to me to be one of the most underrated shows Fox has ever produced. It is one that does not have any DVD release. You can find episodes on YouTube, but you need DVDs. Like you cannot find DVDs this anywhere, and I wish they had it. They released Bobby's World on DVD, but they won't release this. They released the Casper Show on DVD. This, arguably one of their best shows to ever exist. Just, you have to find episodes. Not very good quality on YouTube, but I encourage you to check it out. It is fun. It is a fantastic show. Just check it out. Even the Thunder Lizard stuff is fine, but yeah, well, they paired it with, they called it Extravaganza from like the 3rd season on, but it's a fun show. So, what are your thoughts on my list? What's your list? Let me comment, should I share and subscribe? Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.